CQ RAYNET. This is Golf 4, November Romeo Charlie, operated today by Greg Golf 0 Golf Uniform Bravo, serving as net control for the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net. This net meets each Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time and is open to all amateur radio operators interested in emergency communications. The primary purpose of the net is to provide the opportunity for members to test equipment, exchange traffic news, opinions and information. Additional information and announcements are available at www.raynet-uk.net. This is a directed net, which means all calls are to be made to the net control station unless you are instructed otherwise, and all RAYNET UK operators are invited and encouraged to check into the net. When you do check in, please announce your call sign slowly and phonetically, followed by your name, and if you wish to leave the net immediately after checking in, then please call in and out. Otherwise, if you want to leave after subsequent turns, then please make it clear you want to check out at that time. After I've heard a few check-ins, I'll repeat who I've heard. If you're not acknowledged, then please do try again, and I will call for any strays, that's people who've missed their turn to call in, at the end of the UK and international sections. So I'll now begin taking check-ins to the RAYNET UK weekly activity net in call sign number order. So any stations with figure 8 or figure 8 in their call sign wishing to check in, please call now. This is G4 NRC.
G4 NRC, Golf 8, Kilo, Lima, Charlie, name's Phil. Good evening, good afternoon, Greg, and in and out, I'm afraid.
Golf 8, Echo Yankee, G8, EEY, name is Mike.
G4 NRC, I've got Phil, Golf 8 Kilo Lima Charlie, as confused as I am, but now it's sunshine outside. It's a good afternoon, it's a good evening. Copy to you in and out, Phil. And Mike, Golf 8 Echo Yankee, staying with me. Any other 8s, please? G4 NRC, over.
Yeah, Golf 8 Sierra Delta Uniform, Bob, no traffic, in and out.
G4 NRC, good afternoon, Bob, Golf 8 Sierra Delta Uniform, and copy to you in and out. Okay, let's have 7. Stations figure 7 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4 NRC, over. G78, Golf 7 November Echo Hotel.
Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar, good afternoon, Greg.
G4C, so I've got Graham, Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, and Dave, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar. Any other 7s, please? G4 NRC, over. G4 NRC, nothing heard, so let's have 6s. Stations figure 6 in their call sign, please. G4 NRC, over.
Golf 6 Papa Delta Echo, no traffic in and out, please, Greg.
G4 NRC, good afternoon, Chris, Golf 6 Papa Delta Echo, and copy to you in and out. Any other 6s, please? G4 NRC, over. G4 NRC, nothing heard, so let's have 5. Stations figure 5 in their call sign, please. G4 NRC, over. For NRC, and we still have less than names on the system, so let's go for 4s. Stations figure 4 in their call sign, please. G4 NRC, over.
Golf 4 Kilo. India, South Sussex.
Golf 4 Kilo Uniform Juliet, Trevor in Watford. G4 and RC, we had a double there. So, Philip, Golf 4 Kilo and Lima acknowledged, audio extremely muffled and seems to get quite a bit of time to get the message through as the tickle goes. Trevor, G4KUJ acknowledged. Phil, Golf 4 Hotel Uniform. Phil, are you staying with me or in and out because you were mostly coupled with by Trevor? G4HUF, G4 and RC. G4HUF. Well, I've got nothing significant to add to the email I sent to you last night, Greg, over. G4 and RC, so you can stay and then I can comment on that and you can leave a note on them, I suppose. Haven't put it on the topic of the agenda for discussion today, but we'll see what other people say as well. So that's the four. Any other fours, please? G4 and RC, over. Or an RC, nothing heard. So it's the threes. Stations figure 3 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4 and RC, over.
Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-ray. Ian.
G4 and RC, good afternoon, Ian. Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-ray. Any other threes, please? G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard, so let's go for 2. Stations figure 2 in that call sign, and that includes you in intermediate 2s. Please go ahead, over. 2 Echo 0 Charlie Mike Sierra. Calling from Midway. G4 and RC, good afternoon, Colin. 2 Echo 0 Charlie Mike Sierra. Any other 2s, please? G4 and RC, over. For an RC, nothing heard, so let's have 1s. Stations figure 1 in that call sign, please go ahead. G4 and RC, over. RC, second call for any stations figure 1 in that call sign, please go ahead, over. For an RC, nothing heard, so let's go to Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please call now. G4 and RC, over. Mike 0 Kilo Charlie November, John here. Mike 0 India Tango Mike, Andy in Cornwall. Good afternoon, Greg and all. In and out. Thank you. 0 Whiskey X-ray Golf, Shirley with Andy in Cornwall. In and out. Thank you, Greg. G4NRC, let's unpick that. Alan Mike 0 Juliet Sierra Alpha recognised, but never got more than 2 seconds of audio from you at a time, Alan. So I think you've got some issues. John, Mike 0 Kilo Charlie November, good afternoon. Nice to see another ZC here. And then we've got Andy, Mike 0 India Tango Mike, and Shirley, Mike 0 Whiskey X-Ray Golf, both in and out. Any other Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please? G4NRC, over.
Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, through.
Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, good afternoon, Drew. Maybe you doubled before, but got you that time. Okay, let's go for Golf 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please. G4NRC, over.
Golf Whiskey 0 Juliet Lima X-Ray. Good afternoon, Greg. Name is Andy, RAYNET Pembrokeshire. No traffic today, so in and out, please. And thank you for your email. Over.
G4NRC, good afternoon, Andy. Golf Whiskey 0 Juliet Lima X-Ray, and copied you in and out. No problems. Thanks for your response. Taking my usual shortcut at this point, any UK stations have missed their turn to call in, please call now. This is G4NRC, over. G4NRC, nothing heard. So do we have any international liaison stations? Usually Northern Band of Norway, RN in Ireland, Aries in Slovakia. Any of our international colleagues, please. G4NRC, over.
William Alpha 6 India Mike, the name is Hans. In and out, but will monitor.
G4NRC, good afternoon, Hans. Lima Alpha 6 India Mike, and copied you in and out. Okay, anybody, UK or international, missed their turn before I start working down the list. This is G4NRC, over. G4NRC, nothing heard. Right, so that's 18 check-ins, nice respectable number. Reminder that today's net is being live streamed by Graham, Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, to YouTube today. Past live streams and recordings are available by searching G7NEH, that's Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, on YouTube. Recognising some chatter before the net started, a reminder that DMR IDs are not that reliable to decide who was calling. For example, any call through the Fusion gateway onto the RAYNET system has to be given the dummy ID of G4NRC just to get recognised through the Fusion's DMR gateway, as Fusion does not use the same identity system as DMR, and the Keynote will spot that the station is currently identifying as G4NRC, but my DMR ID still is my normal call of G0DUB. Second discussion topic, first of a few discussion topics, go boxes from G4HUF's email to me of last night. We've got a user service location which has a habit of getting flooded or getting close to getting flooded. They're looking for their equipment to get refreshed in RAYNET purposes. So who has their emergency centre equipment in so-called go boxes ready to be removed, and how many people have it screwed onto the wall, and have optimism that the sites are still fit for use? So just appreciate some wider feedback on that. I would have liked not to have reported on any storms this week, but we had a glancing blow from Storm Ingun affecting Scotland with wind speeds up to 106 miles per hour earlier in the week. The storm was named by the Norwegian Weather Service and caused red weather warnings in their country, which might not be much of a surprise, as further north the storm caused 155 mile per hour gusts in the Faroe Islands, only abating to 120-mile-an-hour hurricane force winds when it hit Norway, causing power cuts and property damage, but luckily no fatalities and only a few injuries. A question then for those who bravely put up antennas on tripods and other temporary masts. Do you know what wind speed will tip the mast over? The other item I can't wait to lose from the news is the ongoing discussions of Ofcom revision of licence T's and C's. Group controllers who have talked through permits, please look at the RAYNET news this Friday, where there'll be a request for information about current talk-through usage. I'm just trying to get ahead of the game as there's no transition period from implementation of the new licence terms. So any group who wishes to use temporary repeaters after implementation needs to provide initial estimates of the need so I can get everyone sorted out. Right, let's hit the list. Golf Echo Echo Yankee, G4 and RC over.
G4NRC from T8EY. Oh, a few things there. Weather here, well, it's nice to hear it sunny over your side. As far as I'm concerned, it's definitely evening. 11.9 centigrade, 1019 millibars, 89% relative humidity, and 100% cloud cover. Quite breezy at 27.7 miles per hour from 256 degrees. Looking at the forecast for next weekend, when we've got long distance walkers 50-mile race, originally had temperatures down to about 2 degrees for the 2 days and a mixture of sleet and snow. But that does seem to have gone away now, so I'm hoping that it's going to be not too cold. Thanks for the other email to give me some bedtime reading. Oh, here we go. Oh, well, that's life. When it comes to Go units, we've got 3 portable sort of rack mount boxes which contain FT 8800s, power supply and bits and pieces so that we can run data if necessary. All eminently portable. There's one actually in a complete need to go about 2 feet deep in the Gorton fire station. So the only other unit is the talk-through at Wyndham, but as that's actually, well, if that goes underwater, so does the police headquarters. That's not good. At least they're provided waterproof. The antennas are at 60 metres up the mast, and I don't want water that deep. From G8EEY.
Echo Echo Yankee, G4 NRC. Thanks, Michael. Copied. So you've got portable boxes, but actually pretty pre-deployed already. Fine, thank you. With regard to further weather forecasts, the Met Office 10-day look ahead of, albeit 2 or 3 days ago, did imply that the accuracy of forecasting over the next 5 to 7 days was not going to be very good. It was a very nice graphic. It showed how accurate they thought the computers thought they might be, and it just totally lost the plot from about tomorrow for a few days before getting it back again and all the different forecasts trending to a common picture. So keep watching. We're even beating supercomputers. All right, round to Graham, G7NEH, G4NRC, over. G4NRC, G7NEH. Yeah, good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon to all. Last week's net recorded net had 20 views and 2 likes, so a bit down on the live stream. And today we've got concurrently 7 viewing and 3 likes at present. Not a lot else to add at this moment. G4NRC, G7NEH. Take a double there. G7NEH, G4NRC returning. Okay, thanks for those figures, Graham. You also got the email from Phil about Go boxes. I suspect we'll need to have a talk about this. but I've been so head down on other stuff and not had a chance since we do have our own group AGM to try and sort out as well. Okay, thanks for the data. Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar in the RAYNET-UK activity period, G4 NRC, over.
G4 NRC. Mike 7 Oscar. Yeah, good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's well. Just trying out this new hotspot built on a Pi 3 B this afternoon and configured, and fingers crossed it's all working, and if you can just give me a report back on the signal when we're done, I will be grateful. I have replied to your email earlier on, Greg, and between us we'll sort something out for definite over the AGM. Not a great deal to add this round, and happy on the next round. Hopefully, a reasonable signal report. Okay, Mike 7 now Alpha Victor Oscar.
Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar, G4 NRC. Yeah, Dave, hotspot seems fine, no dropouts. The audio counts as the audio after radio. The hotspot doesn't really do much about that. And yeah, I'll go and check the emails when I drive up to basketball. I need to be away to basketball as well on time today. So it'll probably ping something back and forth with you later. Sorry, I also have to deal with that slight domestic emergency that I mentioned on the WhatsApp. Right, next up with some problematic audio, Philip, Golf 4, Kilo India Lima, G4 NRC, over.
G4 NRC, G4 KIO. Yeah, I'm pretty straight back to just get a report on the audio. I'm using a sort of similar setup to last week. So if it's really not clear, I can abandon that and come in direct on the DMR. I'll go actually just comment on that, G4 NRC, G4 KIO.
G4 KIL, that's much more readable than last time. Carry on, over.
From the G4 KIL, okay, either I'm at a different end of the building, or I'm just holding the mic right in front of me, whereas I had it clipped onto the radio, the strap. Okay, so it's a remote one. As I say, I'm using a similar arrangement to last week. The difference this week, for those who are observant who watch these things, you might notice I'm coming directly in on the RAYNET server rather than via the Brandmeister bridge, which I was doing last week. Okay, the other things to mention, well, I mentioned the last couple of weeks that on Tuesday of this coming week, South Sussex RAYNET has its face-to-face meeting at a hostelry in the location of Arundel. And we're going to be talking about RAYNET-UK. And thank you, Greg, for responding to my email and for suggesting putting the email out. And I think you'll notice exporting the email I sent, I had another response as well. So hopefully we'll have somebody to talk to, which will be great. Right, the other things you asked about, user-located equipment, I think is what I wrote down on my notes there. I think the only user-located equipment we had were antennas on other buildings, and I think they're gradually all demised one way or the other. At least one of them, somebody helpfully cut the cable off because they didn't know what it was. So I think we've got very little in user locations at the moment. Oh yes, my last comment was one of our members had flagged some interest in a relatively economic UHF, well, it's close to be the UHF or VHF in-band repeater in actual fact. It has a 5 megs separation, which means it couldn't be used on VHF anyway because the band's not that wide. And I think it couldn't be used on UHF because the UK plan doesn't allow 5 meg, I think it's an American split. Just interested in a comment on that to confirm it, because that was kind of my comment. I didn't look like it would be only used to us because of that. Okay, I think that's it for me for this time round. G4 NRC, G4 KIL.
G4 KIL, G4 NRC. Yeah, I know the repeaters you mean. They are in a black box, looking like they're very waterproof, and they've got a couple of radios and a duplexer inside. I think the 5 megahertz split is the minimum split they have. You have to give frequencies when you get them bought so they can program it up and allegedly tune up the duplexer, but you're not really tuning it up because it's only a high-pass, low-pass filter. It's not a notchy one. And I thought somebody else used one in the UK, but you do have to specify the right frequencies. I need to go back and ask a friend about the isolation figures between the in and out on the simple duplexers. But yeah, it's a question to go back is can they program the right frequencies? But yeah, hopefully Tuesday goes well with you for the meeting. I will endeavour to be on air and find you, and thanks for confirming you only have antennas. There's a different story there, but I'll do that on the next round. Thanks, Philip. Next to Trevor, G4KUJ, G4, and I'll see you.
G4NRC in the group, G4KUJ. Yeah, afternoon, Greg, and everybody else. Not much to report this week, so I'll make this the one and only, or I'll continue to do some of the looking. The only comment I've got is that, like you, I think I've not managed to get back or link to Germany to get my unsafe report away to NTSB. So I think what I'm going to do, if I can't get through tomorrow night, I'll email it through to Jim just to make sure. So don't push you back to me again, and I will be listening to the end. G4NRC, G4KUJ.
G4KUJ, G4NRC returning. Yeah, I'm going to bundle mine up and send it as a batch file to Peter on WinLink, so it'll still do the non-WinLink transatlantic route. So actually making sure the messages do get passed via RF rather than the internet, and I'll probably wind up doing that tomorrow night. Okay, thanks for helping with the logging, Trevor. I've got one further request for you, but I'll get a WhatsApp back on this. I'm running out of time and too much to do. Could you go through the Region 1 ENCOR emails and try and collate which countries wanted what kinds of exercises? Because I don't think I'm going to get time to do that in the next couple of days, the way things are going. But we can discuss that one on WhatsApp. Right, Phil, G4HUF. So I copied the email about go boxes. I think we probably need to spin the dish on where we've actually got locations in Cheshire that are still staffable. Certainly in East Cheshire, I think some more are under threat of being sold, so get the idea. But I think there's some limitations of our current county central location at the police headquarters we might need to talk through. So again, as per other comments, if I could just get the Ofcom stuff to go away, I think we'll definitely talk about that. G4HUF, G4 and RC, over.
Is G4HUF, yeah. Okay, Graham, that's interesting. And it's interesting to hear the feedback from other groups as well. It sounds as though the idea of a go box would be a sensible one in that respect. But of course, what was more the significant point that I was hoping to coordinate with you and Graham was the equipment fit in that respect. Any useful information from any source is always valuable, and I appreciate everybody else's comments in that respect, and some sort of uniformity, whether it be just at county level, zone level, or even national level, is always going to make life a little bit easier in the long run if the worst happens. So thank you for that. I shall continue to listen and see what other comments are made, and perhaps if we've got time on the next round, I can
respond, but at this point, I think it's just a case of absorbing all the information. G4NRC, G4HUF. G4HUF, G4NRC returning. Yes, and uniformity would even go as far as frequency arrangements, and where we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot with the heritage. One of the things with go boxes that occurred to me was a lot of our equipment in West Cheshire was effectively boxed, just not plug in and ready to go kind of boxed. Since we haven't had a fixed location in West Cheshire for some time, not even antennas. So it was boxed, but then it was in a storage unit which we had 24 hours access to, which was great until the national power outage scenario came along, and it's difficult to get an electric roller shutter door up when it's no power. So yeah, there's as always, there's always questions on questions. All right, let's see what other comments you get then. Ian, Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC and the group, G3ZHX. Good afternoon all. Yes, a few years ago we had to move our equipment out of the basement of the old county offices, and we've since reinstalled some of it in the 14th floor of the new one, which is in the tallest building in Aylesbury. However, the new head of the new council has said that they are about to sell us off, so I suspect we're going to be pulling out of that as well, and I guess we'll then be homeless. So as far as equipment is concerned, it'll be a shame, but we're waiting and seeing. And with that, I will hand it back. G4NRC, this is G3ZHX.
ZHX, G4NRC. Yeah, I'm actually, this is past the ongoing drip feed of stuff as it falls out of my head. I'm really hoping that a building that's been sold off in my area gets knocked down real soon, because it has a lot of inaccessible and shedding bits, antennas on top of it, not all of which are ours. They were all installed by the council, to be fair. But it's really far nicer if it comes down at the end of a wrecking ball than having to climb up and get the things back down. And I am wary about the maintenance or lack of some council office type antennas. So yeah, we are all having to think differently as private finance initiatives, to use this old term, and other things are putting councils more and more into rented accommodation. Okay, Colin, 2 Echo 0, Charlie Mike Sierra, G4NRC, over.
Yeah, from 20 CMS. What else I'll tackle first? Go boxes. We've got various equipment in go boxes, DMR repeaters and UHF, VHF repeaters in go boxes. We've got the voice over internet phones to go box. I've got my own box that I've set up, basically all plumbed in with a power supply, a Wi-Fi bridge, internal and external connections for internet and power. The power supply inside could run the DECT handsets for probably 2 or 3 days, and the Wi-Fi bridge. Whereas if I use the power over internet switch in there, that will probably only last about 12 hours, but never mind. And that's plugged in most of the time. I turn it off about once a week just to help discharge and recharge the battery in the power supply unit in there. But also we've got I think we've got about 3 Starlink systems now boxed up, ready to load straight into vehicles. And one's in the out control unit as well, I believe. Apart from that, nothing else to add, I don't think, at the moment. I'll pass it back to you, G4NRC 2E0 CMS.
E0 CMS, G4NRC. Well, the one bit of equipment we have go boxed in West Cheshire was actually done more for cosmetic grounds than anything else, and that was our PMR kit. We only really dressed it up because people got a little objectionable about us unboxing equipment and seeing all the wires across the desk. But you mentioned batteries, which is a good point because that box has got a very small lead acid in it to keep things going should we have had a power loss, a temporary power loss in the control room. And that battery probably hasn't been cycled for a while because it sits in the aforementioned storage unit. So how vulnerable is anybody's go boxes to being neglected for a while? And remember, don't try this with lithium cells. Alan, Mike 0 Juliet Sierra Alpha, G4 and RC, over.
Yeah, good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully my should be better. I think I'm just too far away from the hotspot. Let me just move a bit closer to the window. Is that better, Greg?
G4 and RC, well, I've got 8 seconds that time, so carry on over.
Yeah, I'm watching the hotspot capital. I'm indoors in the house rather than in the cold old shack today. That's why I'm not feeling too bright. Bit of the head cold, unfortunately. Yeah, I haven't got much to say, to be honest, today. This is unusual for me, of course. The only thing of note is we've got our AGM next Saturday. Suffolk RAYNET AGM on Saturday. And we'll be standing down from the committee. Hopefully there'll be other people stepping up to the job. Tom will tell. I'll keep listening to the end, but really come back in a bit forward, Greg. G4NRC, M0 JSA.
M0 JSA, G4RC. Yes, it is that season, and I suppose I should put it in the news, in the announcement for next week. But this is a season where a lot of AGMs and meetings take place. So I've got my West Cheshire one needs to happen at the end of February. We have the Zone 10 meeting beginning of March. In the midst of all the other chaos. As to the hope that standing down from a committee means other people might stand up, let us know how you get on with that one. There'll be many other groups wanting to know. Okay, I'll copy you out on that one. Hope you feel better soon. Equally, I think I've got the 100-day lurgy that's just slowing me down at the moment. Right, to the far north. Mike 0, Kilo Charlie November. Up to you, John. G4 and RC, over.
Yeah, this is Mike 0 Kilo Charlie November. Good afternoon, G4 NRC and everybody else on that. I'm accessing through my local repeater, Golf Bravo 7, Golf Delta, and this is the first time I've been on DMR at all. In fact, I've spent 3 days now since I got the radio, listening to various groups, and this is the first thing I've heard at all. As far as go boxes go, I keep all my stuff, almost all my amateur gear, in a pelly case, so it's waterproof and drop proof. And then I've got a 120 ampere hour battery that sits in the shed most of the year, that goes in the back of the car when I've got events. Our first event being, looking at this here briefing, next weekend. So that'll be a nice cold one going by the weather forecast. Not much else to say, so this is MM0KCN, over you.
Mike 0, Kilo Charlie November, for RC. Okay, John Bell, access via Golf Delta is working fine. Will depend on how your local repeater keeper has his system set up, whether it has any so-called static talk groups. But a lot of them have sort of noticed that tends to make the repeater so busy real users can't use it. So good to see you, and maybe you'll go the next step and get onto the RAYNET-UK server at some point. Notes on the penny cases and the 120 amp hour battery. Yeah, I am looking at a larger battery, but it's the charging regime if we go down the lithium route and keeping it happy and healthy. For your next event next weekend, likewise as the comments back to Mike, Met Office forecast confidence is low through this week, so worth checking the midweek forecast and seeing if the computers have got their act together by that point. Okay, last on this round, it's Drew, Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, M0 MFS. Yeah, okay, trying to remember all the things we've talked about. As far as kit in use services, I don't think we've got anything left. There used to be quite a bit in Plymouth, but I think that's all. Buildings have been sort of repurposed and everything has been pulled back. As far as batteries go, I'm still on a lead acid 120 amp hour, but that's just kept on a single charger. In fact, it is in the caravan when it's not doing secondary use, and it's got a nice little DC-DC charging set in the back of the Volvo, which keeps it in very good condition. I've spent quite a lot of time this week playing with Arden, and I now have my node talking to 1,000 other nodes worldwide, thanks to Steve G4 EKM up in the north, who very kindly let me tunnel into his mesh, and that hops over the Atlantic. So we've got a huge lot. I'm playing with Mesh Chat and playing with Mesh Map. I've got 2 RF links and 2 nodes down here, which I'm hoping to take out on the next event, which is looking like the Equinor Challenge in May. Although at the moment we are kind of struggling to find bodies for that, so we might need to look further afield for some help on that one. Other than that, that's probably all I've got to say. Obviously, waiting for the talk-through story, because that's going to come into play with that one. Other than that, nothing more. Back to you from M0 NFS. Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, G4 and RC returning. Okay, I'll talk to information, doing our best. I am just fairly convinced I will not please everybody all of the time. But we have got a primary user and a licensing body who have gone through a steep learning curve, I think it's fair to say, over the last couple of weeks. I'm still trying to hold the line in some places, so I will try and make the Friday news item as descriptive as I can within the embargoes that I've got. I do need to get information off people so we can get ahead of the game as best we can, rather than me spending all of March trying to sort out 100+ groups for talk-throughs. Arden. Yes, I'm also looking at a couple of point-to-point links, as well as the in-house meshing I have here for playing. And what I really want to do is get some services up. So, as you said, you've got Mesh Chat and other things. I have an old network-attached storage device, which apparently will cosplay as a real computer and web server and things. So that should really probably be my next feature, because there's no point having a network if it doesn't pass any traffic. So that's my next progress, but I will have a look for you on the mesh when I connect next. Right, with the reminder, I did say I needed to be at basketball as quick as we could today. So back to the top, and it's Mike again. Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4, and I'll see you.
G4 and RC from G8DY. I won't try and go as fast as Patrick Moore used to go. Talking of going, go boxes unfortunately can go on their own, which is always a problem from locations. We've had them disappear without knowledge, and we eventually track them. The other thing is that, of course, you design a box and then you find you're talking legacy units because the radios you went for aren't available anymore. And on the east coast of Norfolk, some of the safe locations, so-called, were at or below sea level, even though they were inland. So, yeah, work that one out. When we cleared out South Norfolk at Long Stratton, we went, took the equipment out, and we climbed right up to the top and looked at the antennas and said, nah, they can stay there. We certainly did not fancy taking them out. I've noted that John JS, oh sorry, brain's gone. Alan JSA is standing down from the committee. Yes, obviously I am across at AGM. Yeah, long distance walkers in 2019, before I started using talk through there, I tried operating from the Land Rover outside. The temperature never went above freezing, and eventually the PTT on the microphone stopped working completely, so I had to go for talk through and leave the radio to its own devices. From T8DEY.
Golf 8, Echo Echo Yankee, G4NRC. Yeah, well, although size is never meant to matter, we did have a set of radios in Cheshire that was in a big steel cupboard. And the whole cupboard disappeared. When we eventually found it, it was upside down in the basement. It had been treated very indelicately and rolled down the stairs. Luckily, the equipment within was not too harmed by the experience. Yeah, no two things go walkies. It's another consideration to have in mind. Okay, thanks for that. Let's go around to Graham and see if there's any comments from the live stream. G7NEH, G4NRC, over. Yeah, G4NRC, G7NEH. Right, okay, I'm not by the computer at the moment, but I don't think there's any comments on the chat box. Yeah, go boxes. Yeah, well, good idea. Probably need, I've just read Phil's email actually, so yeah, probably need a meeting at some point to just discuss the equipment, etc. But yeah, and yeah, I remember building the one for our PMR here at West Group. So there we go. Not a lot else to add on this end, so I'll say something free to all. Thanks for doing that, Greg. And we'll catch you next week. G4NRC, G7NEH. G7NEH, G4NRC. Okay, thanks, Graham. And yeah, I was trying to find some of the stuff from the one we built for West Group, because that was the idea of we could have carried that concept on further mapping, stacking ones. Then you find the box makers have different ideas for stacking stuff. Right, I'll pull something together when first up's flying. Next today, no adverse comments on your audio player, so I think the new hotspot's a winner. Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar. Yeah, no, appreciate the feedback on the hotspot thing. And as I say, I sent you an email regarding the AGM, and if you give us a shout when you've got more time, we'll sort it out for definite. Nothing more to add this end. Thanks for taking that, and hopefully catch up next week, and hopefully everyone stay safe, and we'll talk next week. Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar.
Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar, G4NRC. Okay, I've not read the emails yet, Dave. I'll probably do it when I have to get to the game. And when I get back, I shall be telling my neighbour about our rising tide incidents. Only you will get the true significance of that. Okay, thanks for coming on. Thought it was a good test. Next to Philip, Golf 4, Kilo India Lima, G4NRC, over.
P4 NRC P4 KL. That's great. I'll try to be quick without speaking so quickly that you can't hear it in any time. I think there's only 2 points to make this time round. One was the, yes, to say on Tuesday, I think I mentioned in the email, I may well be trying to monitor the VSA call. Probably the standard is at 3578 frequency on 80 meters from before 80 o'clock. So if you feel like posting something, I'm not likely to respond because I don't think I'm going to have two-way communication set up, but I may monitor it off one of the FCR receivers just as a demonstration. So if you wanted to post something there, which we could see, that would be lovely. The other one was, I should have said last time, again, if you could respond back to my transmission confirming that I'm using what is the correct terminology with a remote-controlled radio using a low-power VHF link, just in case anybody in the Hove area is wondering why this net is on 2 meters. 73, speak to you, hopefully communicate with you briefly on Tuesday, otherwise speak to you next Sunday. P4 Cal, clear for listening.
G4KIL, G4NRC. Yes, I'm getting into discussions of the new fresh file about how stations get identified. But yes, just to make clear to anybody that hears that G4KIL is using a clause 10 cross remote control station between 70 centimeters and 2 meters, which is why you might hear him in a couple of places. But it's his station for his specific use. Okay, thanks Philip, that's done, and yes, if I can get clear of everything like working time, I will pop up on JS8 call, see if I can spot you there first. Alright, final then please from Phil, G4HUF, G4NRC, over. It is G4HUF, excellent. Well, thanks for that, Greg. Worthwhile coming on. Interesting to listen to comments, and the references to battery maintenance reinforces my own opinions and thoughts on that subject, which is nice to be not to be right, but nice to be doing things properly, shall we say. And certainly as far as that little lead-acid battery that you referred to in the storage unit, I suspect that is probably ready to be thrown. G4HUF, signal drops, G4NRC, over. Signal's gone, so yeah, I strongly suspect the battery in our PMR unit is no more than a big capacitor at the moment, but it was very small. It was never intended to run the station for more than a brief power outage to tell people were switching over to a handheld and decamping. So yeah, it's all about getting the specifications right. I'll see if I missed anything further from Phil, anything after batteries, when I get to the end of the net. But let's carry on trying to get some clearances done. So Ian, Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, G3ZHX. Your point about wrecking ball reminded me that a lot of us in Aylesbury think that a wrecking ball should be put through the whole power block that our kit is in, but that is not likely to happen. A TV program on the subject was in favour of keeping the building, and the only reason I can see for doing that is to make sure we never do it again. The other comment was, and really at G7NEH Graham, the talk group column is actually not very informative on the DMR dashboard on the YouTube video. I wonder if you might consider replacing it with the VIA, which is actually more informative. We can see how the call's getting in. And from that, I shall say cheerio, and G4NRC returning this to V3ZHX.
Zulu Hotel X-Ray, G4NRC. Okay, I'm not sure what control Graham's got over the columns of that, but he's listening, so I will see what he can do next time round. Yes, I think we've all got one of those buildings, somewhere that you can focus the 2-minute hate onto. I think Chester's got a couple as well. Right, thanks Ian. Now down to Colin, to Echo Zero, Charlie Mike Sierra, G4NRC, over.
20 CMS. I was going to make a comment last time around about some of our antennas and things on buildings. Most of them, the buildings have either been rejigged internally or they've moved out of them, so we haven't actually got anything usable, I don't think, anywhere. The county police headquarters has changed to a different building now, which they're currently leasing and not allowed to put any antennas on the roof, so that's a bit of a non-starter. But anyway, I haven't got anything else to add this time around, so thanks for doing the net rig, and I'll let you get back and hopefully finish up the net and get to your basketball. G4NRC 20 TMS.
To E0 CMS, G4NRC. Yeah, well, our thing we need to explore in Cheshire is that our police headquarters was one of those private finance initiative, thou shalt not kind of buildings. It was all supposed to be reconfigurable, so all we have is antennas and cables at the base of the antenna, but no equipment. So we're kind of dependent on a Clause 10 crossbands device to actually make it usable inside the building. But that's what we need to discuss locally. And architect restrictions and planning permission restrictions, different story, different day, but it's a long one. Right, thanks Colin, see you next week. John, Mike 0, Kilo Charlie November, G4NRC, over.
Yeah, this is Mike 0, Kilo Charlie November. I'm still here. Nothing else I'll do, so I'll hand over to you again.
Mike 0, Kilo Charlie November, G4NRC. Okay, I need to do a double take for next week to see who's actually further north, whether it's you or Hans Slinger Alpha 6 India Mike. I don't think there's much in it. You can certainly talk to each other easier than you can talk down towards south of the border. Okay, nice to hear you, John. Hopefully hear you next week. And the last station on the rotor before we going back for HUF is True. Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, G4NRC.
G4NRC, M0MSS. Yeah, well then, all I've got to say is thanks a lot for running the net break, and whoever's been logging, and we'll catch you all next week from M0MSS.
Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra. No problems, True. Nice to talk to you. And yeah, we need to put ARDN on the agenda for future weeks as well and keep that bus moving. Right, Golf 4 Hotel Uniform Foxtrot, G4HUF. Please repeat all after batteries, over. G4NRC, or it could be the worst case that the battery went flat on his handheld, which would prove him right again, of course. Right, okay, haven't actually got time to go back and try again, so if you don't mind, I will close the net. So thanking everybody for taking time out this afternoon to participate in this afternoon's net, the usual good exchange of information. Be careful, have a good week, and until next Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time, I will close the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net on Brandmeister and Pheonix 23531 and RAYNET-UK 50 23531 and return those talk groups to being an open net rather than a directed net. 730, this is Golf 4 November Romeo Charlie now closing, and reversing to my normal call sign of Golf 0 Delta Uniform Bravo and going QRT.